Well, Trump admits the U.S. was weeks away from running out of reserves when the Iran deal was struck. Gee, imagine that. Of course we were. We're closer to it than ever now. And it's going to take weeks and if not months to get some new oil out into the pipelines, literally. I do have one question, however. Where is all the oil that we're supposedly going to take from Venezuela? Where's all that going? Who's taking all of that oil? I mean, the U.S. supposedly did this operation against Maduro to remove him from power and then thereby accelerating and expanding the Venezuelan oil exports, but that hasn't happened yet. And word on the ground in Venezuela is that nothing much has changed at all since Maduro was removed. Things have not gotten any better, as the U.S. promised they would. But anyway, Trump admits now that the U.S. was weeks away, but I don't think so. Because if you look from an earlier story today that I found, let's go check it out real quick. Zero Hedge was warning this morning. Well, there it is, Cushing at tank bottoms, right there. There's the chart. And then, like Hal says, for weeks, I warned readers of this website and listeners to my radio show that we here in the U.S. would start hitting tank bottom. Now, the pipeline crossroads of the world and Cushing, Oklahoma, have hit tank bottom, like we talked about yesterday. Any oil flowing into Cushing is redirected to flow straight out. Storage tanks are at their operational bottom. There's no reserves available. So now we need to see who's going to get oil and who isn't. You've got to know the military will get theirs first, of course. That's the way it's always been. But once we start hearing who won't get more oil until 2 weeks from next Friday, we will have an idea of which parts of the country will run out of gasoline, diesel, propane, aviation, and bunker fuels. Expect to see gas rationing in parts of this country soon. And in fact, I put that very thing on Telegram earlier today, right before this article came out. You see the article I was just reading from right here. I posted a screenshot of it. And right above it, right before that, I had typed, with oil reserves in the United States being at record lows, I would expect fuel rationing to begin in the USA soon. There will be gas lines we haven't seen in America since 1979, during the last so-called fuel crisis. Well, up here, I just posted about how many Russians were talking smack about how Europe and the West would be out of oil, how they wouldn't have any heat for their homes in the winter, and that I wouldn't be able to put any gas in my car to go anywhere, and blah, blah, blah. All this propaganda, right? Well, I guess the shoe's on the other foot now as Russia has started rationing gasoline to its population. Yes, Russia, who supposedly, a huge uh, gas station, oil station, whatever you'd like to say. They have all kinds of thousands and thousands, thousands, billions of barrels of oil sitting there. All kinds of oil. And yet now they're rationing gas to their population. They're also allowing for the sale of substandard gasoline, and then they're not telling the public about it. So it's less refined and they can get out to market quickly. But people's cars may start stalling and spitfire, misfiring, and so on. But there it is, breaking widespread fuel rationing has been introduced across dozens of Russian regions and occupied territories due to systematic Ukrainian drone strikes on oil refineries. Yes, that's exactly what's been happening. Limits vary by location, with hard caps on civilian purchases, such as 20 to 50 liters per transaction, imposed by major chains and local authorities to prevent hoarding and panic buying. And now we're going to see that coming into the States too. Because, like I said, right after I posted these two statements, this article came out like just 15, 20 minutes later. Or at least that's when I saw it. So I also put this post up today on my Substack health blog, Don't Speak Health News. And you can access that here. The benefits of lime juice, olive oil, cayenne pepper, salt, DMSO, and iodine. I put it all in one glass and drink her down. So you can see the benefits and all that in this article here. But anyway, back to the story at hand. Expect to see gas rationing in parts of this country soon. I agree. More, U.S. President Trump attending the G7 in France told the media just minutes ago we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks if the Iran deal wasn't done. But like I said, it's going to take time for the oil to get from the straits to where it needs to go, whether it's East Coast, Gulf Coast, or on the West Coast. We talked about that yesterday as well. But here's the rub. If Israel screws up the Iran deal, which they're already doing, and attacks either Iran or Lebanon again, then Iran will shut the Strait of Hormuz all over again before any oil gets out of the strait. And that'll take 35 days to arrive at the West Coast, 45 days to arrive at the Gulf Coast, and 55 days to arrive at the East Coast. That time does not count the number of days it takes to physically load those massive tanker vessels and then unload them and then process the fuel and get it refined. So we're most definitely not out of the woods, and we'll be running out of fuel in some areas of the country within weeks. I earnestly hope you took the warning seriously and got yourself several 5-gallon gas storage cans and da-da-da. Yes, we were not crying wolf. This is going to happen. And Trump even said it himself. Let's take a look at what he had to say today about this whole situation.
Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? Also, we run out of.
Yeah, you want to see bedlam, chaos, mayhem, the purge, Mad Max, all of that stuff. And we're going to be seeing that soon because there's no way we can get enough reserves here to replace what we've lost in time. There's no possible way. That's why I figured he'd have been pumping up Venezuela at this point, but I suppose they're selling that overseas to the European markets to keep them calm. Maybe to the Asian markets as well. I don't know. But nonetheless, it's running out. And there will be fuel rationing in the United States coming up very soon, if not maybe right away this week or next. Remember, they don't tell us these things ahead of time. They don't want us to be prepared. They want bedlam, chaos, mayhem. That's what they want. So it gives them an excuse to crack down on everyone, to really bring the jackboots and clubs out. Just saying. That's exactly what they want. So, and then Trump's been criticizing, right? Trump criticizes Netanyahu. There's all these stories of how they're at odds again because of this deal he made with Iran that Israel's now trying to blow up by continuing to blow up Lebanon, right? Got this from henrymaycow.com. Trump is engaged in another sleight of hand. He is pretending that he's ended the war, but he knows Israel will sabotage the deal by continuing to occupy Lebanon and attack Iran. This way, Trump evades blame and looks like a peacemaker. Yeah, he can just use Netanyahu and Israel as his scapegoat. Netanyahu doesn't need to blackmail Trump because we already know Trump raped children, and because of this peace agreement, this peace agreement is a ruse to appease domestic criticism by shifting blame for the war onto Israel, but at the same time, continuing to fund and support it. It's all an act, just like it says here. And it's designed to make Netanyahu look bad and make Trump look good and take some of the pressure off of Trump. The problem is we're still going to have rationing of fuels. That's going to make Trump look even worse. And that bedlam he's talking about will be coming. Make no mistake about it. And yet, almost everywhere I go, almost everyone I talk to, and in just general life experiences, they're just completely blind to all of it. Everybody's turning hostile too. Have you noticed that lately? I may just do a rant episode here soon. I haven't done one in quite some time, and I hardly ever do them. I just talk about some of the things I've been seeing around me. Changes in people, changes in things, changes in just the vibe of everything. It's getting so dark and so evil. And the people too. The people are following suit, especially the ones that had the you-know-whats in the arm 5-6 years ago. It's all coming home to roost now. Wow. Oh, well, that's it for this episode. That's enough, right? I think that's enough for one day with this type of news. But, if you refuse one of those jibby jabs in the future, like it says here in this particular post that I put on the website yesterday, Christine Anderson, CBDC warning: refuse the jabs and they'll flip a switch and erase your bank account. That's just for starters. So, anyway, I put all this and much more here at don'tspeaknews.com, which is home base for all that we do. And we're up on the renewal for the website. We have to renew it every year for hosting and domain names and all that stuff. So, that's what we're doing funding for. We've got about a tenth of it funded so far, and it renews on the 5th of July. So if you want to see us stick around, please consider contributing to our fundraiser. I'll put the link up as always, or you can click on channel support here and all the links to support us right underneath that tab if you'd like to go that route instead. Completely up to you, but we do need your support this month, most definitely. And then if you want to find us around the internet, Rumble, BitChute, Telegram, these are all the places you can find us, including YouTube right here, Telegram, Don't Speak Health News on Substack, BitChute, and Rumble, and that's it. We've been kicked off everywhere else, and we just get kicked off again, so there's no point in redoing Instagram, Twitter, and all that nonsense. So these are the places you can find us, and that will be it for now. God bless, take care, Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.